The circumstances changed, and the country that we live in was no longer represented by the stars and stripes. Would that change our love for God? Seems like an odd question. Most of you answer real quickly. Of course not. But I ask this question because some in our world today have great difficulty separating politics from their Christianity. The lines between the two become so blurry that people even ask crazy questions. Example, how can anyone be a Christian and a member of such and such political party? How can anyone obey Jesus' commands about serving and be a member of that political party? Sometimes it's as if we interpret the Pledge of Allegiance and that line in it that says one nation under God to mean God ordained this nation to be his, and it's our job to keep it that way. Reality is all nations belong to him, whether we recognize them or not, whether we recognize him or not, whether they recognize him or not. And it's our job to teach all nations. Go into all the world and preach the gospel, Jesus tells us. One of the positive and sometimes negative effects of the Christian's love for country is his involvement in the political process. The question is, how can we find proper balance between politics and seeking God? The people to whom Peter is writing to were not involved in the political process. They had an emperor, and they certainly didn't vote for him, and they did not agree with his politics. Their emperor was immoral, unethical, and he hated Christians. So, does Peter tell them to get on Facebook and to talk about what a horrible leader he was? On the contrary, he tells them to honor the king. But why in the world would they do that? I pray that you're making plans to join us this coming Sunday. At 10:30 worship hour, we will address this very topic as Peter is writing to Christians who are struggling, Christians who are in a bad situation under a bad government. And how do we today respond to that? And what does the words that Peter write to them mean to us today? Bible classes are at 9:30 on Sunday morning with worship at 10:30. After our morning worship, it's second Sunday. So we'll be having a fellowship meal, second Sunday potluck. And after that, we'll have a short time of singing and devotion before we dismiss for the day. There'll be no 5 o'clock service as it's an early service after the potluck. But I pray now that you're making plans to be with us this Sunday. And I pray that you have a good Friday and that God will be glorified in all that you do today.